Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wolf Game Theory. I am Layer Cake, and I'm joined, as always, by
Neil Bottle.
public service announcement. Before we start, this is not financial advice. Anything you hear on the show is just for informational purposes only, and let's go out there and have some fun. We'll start off today, as we usually do, with the current standings of the Alpha game. Things are still unchanged, 1 through 4. We'll talk with Real Crypto Coach Corey, G Money, Panther QB19, and the Real Crypto Coach number 2. Rounding out the top, we look at Wongsworth, AJ Vanderchuck, Woolish 1026, and our guest today on the show, JusSumGuy. Johnny Mo is hanging just behind Just Some with Frenzy, Lord Fenrir, Malcode, Jashamdu, and Mr. Anon trailing up. We'll look at the actions today. Looks as if Crypto Corey and Panther and their little feud is becoming a big one, because it seems to me that every other move is against one of them. We finally had an attack by AJV, which was the last move recorded on the board, and that was against Woolish 1026. And all that did was break down one of his many fortifications. One thing I find interesting about the leaderboard is that the top 4 teams have 0 fortification, which is interesting because they all came out the gate pretty hard fortifying, but then soon but surely all those fortifications went away. What do you think about that, Neil?
Yeah, that was. It's hard to know. Yeah, the top teams really duked it out, and there were targets from some of the lower teams at times. There was payoffs, and then we have this mercenary service, as well to add into the mix. So it's super interesting. It's very close between the top 3, in my opinion. Panther has that kind of backup of point accumulation, but keeps on getting hammered. He's just, even today, that spread is even bigger than it was yesterday when we were talking about this. Crypto Corey crossed the 2 million mark. He got hit, pulled back down for a slight bit of time, then smashed it again. But I can see some real changes coming up soon. And there's that middle of the board is fortified up to the max, and it takes a few switches and a few injections here and there, and there's going to be some changes on this board. We look at Johnny Mo. He has came in hot and heavy in the last little while. Wow. He's creeping up. There's
I think we all know what that's about.
Oh yeah.
We all know what that's about. We all know that. I mean, pretty much, each alpha had their chance to take over the Twitter space today, and JMO wasted no time in going in pretty heavy on the V Friends collab speculation. Pretty much, I would say, guaranteeing people an NFT. Oh, I mean, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And he also, on yesterday's show, you said that you didn't think that a couple of thousand would cut the mustard. But he made it sound today like it would.
Well, I actually asked him that question. I don't know if you noticed that, but I asked him, after he went into one of his rants, I was like, so is there a threshold here? Is there a minimum?
Yeah.
And he said, we didn't want to say anything, but I'm pretty sure if we go back and run the tape back, he says about 3,000 wool. So,
I thought he said 1,000. Anyway, we will run that tape back. We'll run that tape back.
Bet some wool on. Let's bet some wool on that. Let's look at the mercenary site.
Sure. So that site I went in to go and buy one hit. I did. And it was gone. It was taken. It was taken by Corey. And it was a hit on...
Who do you think?
Panther, of course. Had to be.
Yeah. Man, I think this site is we're just going to rename it Panther and Corey Lackey. I think that's pretty much what it's turning into. I think they're going to outbid any and anyone that, or any and everyone, I should say, that tries to outbid them, because I think
it's a Dutch auction, so I can get in before them. So the first one went for 1,300, the second one went for 1,200. If I have 12,000. If I have 15,000 wool there,
Let's put a vote in the comments. If you want to vote for who Neil should personally.
Oh no, I know who I'm
attack
gonna
in this
hit.
game.
I know who I'm gonna
Oh, he
hit.
knows.
So it's if you want to contribute to the fund, any wool that's sent
Just
to my
put your
address
wallet
will
in
go
it.
directly towards a hit. And that's for sure. Anyway, let's
Yeah.
move on. What else did you want to cover next?
Yeah, I think we're gonna talk a little wool right now.
For sure.
Let's look at this
Yeah.
wool chart.
Yeah, we're around the same as we were yesterday. We did see a little dip all the way down to 15 when that was just on our stream yesterday, wasn't it?
Right, and then
Yeah.
it was bought up immediately. So
For sure,
we
on air,
talked
yeah.
about- we
And
talked about it, and it looks like a clear
18.
base and a clear consolidation period happening. You know,
Yep.
and that to me just says healthy. So this chart looks really good. You know, and
Something
no
that I want to touch on is POW has passed out and is rocking in terms of growth.
how to.
Yeah. So I just want to say that,
Wow, look at that.
and it's found perfect support.
Wow, look at that, huh?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm bullish. You zoom out here. It's got serious potential, this coin and this project. But getting back to Wolfgame, we'll have a look at Scarly's site here. If it wants to load up for me. Again, still the same gift there. And our floor prices similar to yesterday. Across the board. We've seen definitely an effect of that farmer information that's being pushed.
Absolutely.
And maybe a little bit of a drop in wool pouches over the last few days. But I'd love to just touch off the spaces today. I thought that was super exciting.
Yeah, that was really awesome. I mean,
I can republish the video that we mentioned the DAO in now.
oh yeah, we can run that back. I was actually having a discussion with some of the presumed members today, and they were like, good thing you guys don't have a lot of subscribers at that point, because the whole can of beans could have been just leaked all over the kingdom right away. So. Yeah, that's a really, for everyone listening now, there was an announcement today on the Twitter Spaces that was done, the official Wolfgame Twitter Space every week, and Lord Fenrir and company announced that they would be forming a DAO to manage Wolfgame assets and make Wolfgame moves and become a force to be reckoned with. A whale of the people, not the people's whale.
Exactly. Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, so. I like that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
we do have JusSumGuy here. Would you like to weigh in on that and tell me what you feel, not only as an Alpha 8, but also as a player of the game?
I'm going to come at this not as an Alpha 8, so I don't sound like I'm just attacking another person, but look at what's happening with, what is it, Monkdown?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever issues that they're having, look at what Ohm is having issues with, look at what Time Wonderland is having issues with, look at what Snowbank is having issues with, look at all the problems that exist around a DAO and fractional ownership, right? There's really the only thing you're doing is trading a token of value against the assets inside of that DAO. It's not what everybody thinks it is as far as fractional ownership and being able to do that stuff. You're not going to be able to pull out a small piece of it. If you want to exit, you're just going to be able to trade your governance token at whatever price someone is willing to pay for it. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, and I give them props for doing it, right? But there's a whole host of things in the background. Is there going to be a weighting system as far as who's going to get what? Is it equally split? How are they going to get more money in it to control more assets? Who's going to run it? Is it going to be under a multi-sig? Who are the signers on the multi-sig? There's just a whole host of things that happen with that. And what people need to understand is it's a fraction of an ownership, right? So let's say we have 1,000 people on that team. What's 1/1000th of something that's, let's just put a number on it and say, 300 ETH worth. What's 1/1000th of 300 ETH? It's not a large share at all. right? And it's going to take them time to get it off the floor, and I hope they're successful with it, with what they're doing on their long-term plans. But
Absolutely.
I just don't see, it going more than maybe like a couple of months before things kind of fizzle out, right? I mean, we're in the middle of alpha game. Everybody's surrounding and basing their decisions off of alpha game to go into this DAO or to go to, the team that's, getting paid wool for their attacks. Right. That one's actually smart because you're bringing in something liquid that can be split. If you are going to divide it against the team, it's not going to be locked up. It's not going to be under governance control. And what's going to happen, in a month or 2 months, when all of a sudden people are thinking the full game is going to be based on kingdoms and the alphas are going to control those kingdoms, and it's not, right? I mean, if you look at the first risky game, the first stage of the game, all the alpha 8s is the ones that got a majority of the stack.
Right.
It wasn't exceptional utility and all that stuff. What really brought light to the alpha 8s was the alpha game. It wasn't that they were always that top peg, that top pony. It was the rarest one, but it didn't hold the value in people's eyes as it does like while we're playing alpha game, right? So we go back to normal, we start playing the full game. Yeah, they're still going to have good rewards, but I don't think people are going to have the power like what they think what it's going to have. So it's just, people need to be cautious with what they're doing, and moving for the flavor of the day is maybe not always the right move. Right. Just to kind of do some of that stuff. Like I had one of the guys that was kind of helping me run my team actually went over to help with the DAO. I said, best of luck to you. I have no hard feelings, on his side, but it made sense for him supposedly to get a better payout over there, which I'm fine with. That's the whole point of why we're playing alpha game, is for everybody to make decisions that are going to benefit them the most, right? But while still working as a team, so it's not, I don't want people locked up doing that stuff, feeling like they're, forced to stay with me. By all means, if you got a better opportunity to make the most of it, go. I know I would.
Right.
So I'm playing a different game. I mean, Corey's talking about, my kingdoms are going to be controlled everywhere. You're going to be able to roam free on my land. There's a lot of promises being given out, and I just don't know at the end of the day if all the backdoor deals and the undercutting and the cutthroat and the attitude of people is worth it, right? Yeah, it's a fun game. Yeah, there's money at stake, but at the end of the day, we all win.
Right. Yes.
There's going to be one winner and everybody else loses.
That's a big point, isn't it?
It's not Squid Game.
Yeah.
It depending on your outlook on the game and how you want to play it is going to dictate your actions in it. And I've always told my team from day one, I'm going to do what's best for everybody, not for myself.
Right.
And if that means, I've got people on my Discord every night, that we sit there and talk other things. But I also go over Wolf Game with them too, right? We'll go over stats, if it makes sense to move to another team, move assets to another team. I'm going to tell them, where you're at that time, where you're going to get your best payout. Right? If it's not with my team, so be it. But, looking over the last couple of weeks with numbers, and I haven't looked today yet. I know some stuff has changed with some of the movements, but as of last night at like 11 p.m., unless you went to the Anon team and got a 35-40% more payout, everybody was within a couple of percentage points of each other across the board. And that's where current standings are. Not to say there's going to be board movements that are going to, dictate something else, but I think as those movements come, you're going to see people switch teams to maintain some type of payout with another top tier team, right? So there's going to be a whole lot of shifting and movement, but I think Shep's got it hammered out at the end of the day where, as an aggregate, most people are going to be within a certain range. Obviously, some are going to benefit more than others. But when you look at it as a whole for the average person, at the end of the day, it really, really doesn't matter what team you're on.
Yeah, I think that's why you see people going for sticking with Gary V's team because they're going to get an NFT. So that's like the cream on top, right? So everybody's gonna be within a certain amount of each other, but yet now people are looking for the payout. They're like, okay, well, what can I get from this team that will make this whole thing sweeter? So.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's. I mean, obviously that's advantageous to certain people that have, the social following. Like me, for instance, like looking at my Twitter, I have 1,200 followers. I'm relatively new to Twitter.
Right.
Not new to NFTs, not new to strategy games, not new to any of that stuff. But I don't have the following Gary Vee does. I don't have the following G Money does. So it's easier for them to attract people because A, they already have their followers in the game because they followed it out. People have seen what they're doing, and B, they have that network to be able to push their name out and say, yeah, we can give you something, on top of everything else. But someone like me or Woolish or Longsworth, even Friend down at the bottom, like the relatively unknown guys have to put in a ton of time to try and compete, with Corey or G Money. As far as getting people in there, and at the end of the day, we're only one person, right? So other teams have others helping them out. I didn't really have anybody come, to offer help me moderate my Discord, help me run the team. I had a couple of guys that would help me with strategy, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm doing it all myself, right? So I'm in Twitter Spaces every day. I'm in, Wolf Game Chat at night. I'm in my other projects. I'm actually getting paid to help moderate and be on the teams that I have responsibilities with. So it's a grind, but it's a fun grind, right? And if you don't have help and doing all that stuff and don't have the social status and network, it kind of puts you down on the bottom, and you have to fight a little bit harder to get there, right? So like everybody's associating, the name outside of the game with how they want to make their moves and not necessarily what's best for them in the game.
Right. No, absolutely. I agree.
Which is fine. Like I said, I don't have any hard feelings against anybody. This is a game, and with the way Chef has everything aggregated, I have a feeling it's pretty much all going to work out to be equal.
Yeah.
And that's what I keep trying to tell people. It's like, don't take the month or 2 months of interim game so serious that you end up, sacrificing friendships or, creating a rift in the community because we're playing a game within a game, right? That's not the goal of this game. The goal of this game is to get Wool locked up and get Wool burnt while the main game is being coded, right? Once it's out and released, I have a feeling it's everybody back to normal again.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever normal was.
Yeah, as normal is.
For sure.
But, long story short, I do think, the DAO, it's an idea. Obviously, the failures are well known, but if somehow they can look at those failures and find some point in which they can break through and maybe solve some of those issues that have caused those failures in the past, maybe we can do it. And if anybody can do it, I think this community can, because there's a lot of smart people.
Yeah, I'm honestly hoping it's successful, right? Because it's good for the game.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. That's where I'm
That's
at.
it.
But at the same time, like a majority of the people that run these DAOs are doing it on their own time, right? Kind of like how I'm running this alpha on my own time. It's basically turned into a full-time job while this game is going. Not everybody is going to have time, when it comes down to being available for the multi-sig or moving things around or, doing stuff like that. It's going to take time out of their day. And if they start getting attacked, they're doing it as a favor to the community. Everybody's working together, that type of stuff. You get a little bit of sour stuff in there and people are just going to run. It's like, well, hey, I'm not getting paid. I don't have time for this, whatever, just see it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I hope that doesn't happen, but I mean, it seemed to happen to almost every DAO and I just don't know if it's issues within that stuff, like, or if it's just the actual system itself, the governance thing. It's good at that, right? I mean, it makes people feel like they're a part of something, but at the same time, they're really not. It's a double-edged sword, and it just depends on the way you look at it.
I've definitely it's something that I witnessed the kind of start and formation of, and been involved to a certain aspect in terms of giving my advice, but I don't have the time, and I'm very clear about that, to kind of put into, because like you said that your like Wolf Game for you is a full-time job. It's not for me, but almost feels like it is, and I have a lot less invested. Yeah, like I'm just happy to see it kind of fluctuate. I think that you might be a bit surprised with the kind of undervaluation that's being floated for what people will pay for what like is going to be accumulated. In terms of the Alpha 8 being thrown into the mix. It's definitely going to be interesting tokenomics. I've given my kind of input, and there is definitely some big brains in there that are advising, but I do recognize all your concerns, and I've read a few threads on that. 8DAO or 8DAO.
I mean, it goes back down. It goes back down to a simple thing like this, right? And this is not necessarily specific to this DAO, but would you rather give your money to one person who's really smart that has been extremely successful, or would you rather let 1,000 people decide where your money goes?
Yeah. And I think that's
I know my pick on that. I don't know everybody else's, but I know where I'm putting my money, where I feel it's the safest on that. So it's
for sure.
Just an opinion on it, and not to say that it's bad, because I am in some DAOs, right? But I mean, it's a struggle, especially when the multi-sig is across different time zones and you need people there to do something. There's a lot of teamwork and coordination, and those people are even getting paid, to be a part of that and be available for that. And it still takes 24 hours to get 3 out of 5 SIGs on it.
Yeah.
So it's not a fast moving machine. Decisions have to be voted on. You can't make any impulse moves. It kind of slows you down in a sense, right? As far as movements and being able to effectively get in and out of stuff. Crypto is incredibly volatile, and even the NFTs are, volatile, as well as market prices as well. So unless you're doing play to earn games where you're going to hold stuff long term and farm it, you're going to need to have quick actions and people who are going to be able to decide those actions.
Yeah, I think that maybe perhaps looking at other structures, like perhaps a trust or something else that could service the same goal, but not add maybe an unnecessary layer of complication.
Yeah,
I find that people learn, they look to DAOs as a means of naturally retrofitting it into the situation, but perhaps the trust or something else might be more advantageous to that they're trying to accomplish.
So and like I said, I wish them 100% success on it. I do not want to see that fail.
You don't want to FUD anyone.
Whatever, and that's not my point is to FUD it.
Right.
But
no,
people just need to be aware what they're stepping into.
Absolutely, and I think being part of this community, that is a attribute, and it's something that we all do look out for each other, and we do have the best intentions in mind when we do sort of give people our 2 cents or let people know how we feel. And I think it'll be well received, especially from someone like yourself who is reputable in the community.
Yeah, I'm working on that name. Hopefully it's getting up there.
Yeah, on that note, let's switch gears. Why don't we run into some Solana?
So we'll move on to Solana now, if that's all right, guys. Because I do know that JusSumGuy, you are very experienced in Solana and the NFT space in particular, yeah?
Yeah, so obviously everybody's been in ETH NFTs, right? But I saw the writing on the wall for Solana early. And I was over there when there was only 3 projects on the chain, right? And Solarians, you had a punk derivative, and then you had stuff like Solana Monkey Business was just coming out and minting right around the same time that those other 2 were minting. Then you had Degen Apes,
that was when I saw
Bugbirds. Yeah, that type of stuff was all coming out, right? So I was over there and on the NFT scene before there was even an exchange site up and being able to be available to trade, right? Everything was done OTC for a couple of months within Discord. So I've been lucky enough to get in early and kind of ride the the windstorm and the waves coming in, which has been good for my portfolio, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be kind of like getting in OpenSea, when it first came out, right? There's only a couple of projects and everybody wants an NFT, except the space was already way more mature and this was just a new aspect of it, right? So every chain is eventually going to have, their own go-to NFTs. They're all going to have their blue chips for that chain. It's not going to be across everything. You're going to be able to move them around between chains. It doesn't really matter where they originate. Obviously, they're going to be OG to that chain, but Solana, for instance, you can put your NFTs in a wormhole, send them over to Ethereum. You can get them validated by Twitter that way if you're running it. You can also list them on OpenSea.
Can I stop you right there really quick? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Did you say wormhole?
I did say wormhole.
And so is that a commonly used term?
No, that would be kind of like a bridge. Okay. But Solana actually created and developed what they call a wormhole, and that was by the Solana team.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's their bridge coming between chains.
Interesting.
And just what is the OpenSea of Solana?
I do a lot of my stuff on magiceden.io. You also have Solanart, which is another one. And then one of my other favorites, we'll let you go through Magic Eden first. Yeah, that one right there. You can go ahead and click on it if you want.
Yeah, it's just slow.
Slow. So this is how the website looks. They actually do have some mini games over on the side. They do have a launch pad where a lot of NFTs are starting to do their mints on that. So there's quite a few things that you can do here. It does show top collections, but I think this one probably has the best amount of collections on there. And Portals is a good one if you want to click on those. Dazed Ducks is a good one.
So is this like an alpha pass of some variety for Sol, or an access pass?
You can actually click on the NFT. Just click on any one of those, and you can go to About Portals, right underneath Connect Wallet.
Oh yeah, go down.
There you go. So these are custom spaces in a metaverse that you're going to be able to own and customize, right? So you can make your own, your own art hall and hang your NFTs up in. And there's a lot of things you can do with that.
Is this a popular one?
It is pretty popular, yeah. And they keep going. So basically, and actually, I think if I remember right, they do have a beta room out. So they give you like a square room where you can put your character in and go move. Like you can put furniture here, furniture there, table here, chair there. You can kind of set up your room. And once the full game comes out, you'll be able to load your NFTs into it, hang them on the walls. So it's kind of a cool thing. And if you notice, the prices on those are starting to get up there.
What's up there? Yeah. Do you own any of these? Full disclosure.
I do not. I wish I did. I could have bought a bunch of them when they were at 20 Solana each. Now they're at 70. Right. But I am in. Type in Sweets.
Get some alpha real quick.
Sweep or
SUITES.
Like software.
Yeah, I think it'll come up as the Sweets. Yep.
Yeah, all right, so this is the Sweets on Solana. Why don't you walk us through this one, JusSum?
Well, I'm a huge sport nut, right? I grew up playing, baseball, golf, you name it, basketball in the backyard, football, and that was what I did. I obviously I like playing video games too, and I've got a software engineer degree, but I still love my sports, right? So we go out to March Madness every year out in Las Vegas, and we bet on the college basketball tournament in the United States, where they have the 64 teams that play for the entire month. And, everybody's obviously familiar with those brackets and how they play across the board. The thing that was interesting to me with the Suites is you're going to be able to invite your friends in to be able to watch live games in there. And you're also going to be able to use their currency. to place bets on those games. So you can have wagering inside of it. You can invite your friends in. So like, I mean, everybody's spread across the United States. They can all hop on like we're on Zoom, except everybody's in the same room watching a couple of games, hanging out. Everybody can talk to each other. It's just a cool little hangout lounge area that's geared around sporting. And if you look at some of the guys that are developing it, you got some guys from EA Sports and some really big heads that are behind it. And that came from, that gaming sporting industry side of it, right? They're not new to that sector, that space. So I think they're going to bring a lot of value to this project. And so obviously the prices of them are reflecting that.
So just for context, when you say EA Sports, we're talking NBA 2K, we're talking Madden, we're talking the big...
FIFA.
Yeah, FIFA. I mean, these aren't just small time games. This is like big time.
Yeah, no, this wasn't someone that coded a game in their garage, and put it out for a couple of people to play. I mean, these are AAA rated, highly intelligent guys that have been around, that space for a long time that are moving over here. And you're starting to see a lot of that with projects that are coming out. I'm in another project called Sounds Rare NFTs, to where artists are going to be able to release singles that are tied to those NFTs, and we get basically like a manager royalty off of owning that NFT, right? So if you happen to get that NFT that, Tyga or some big rap star comes in and puts it out and they sell 2 million copies, you're getting a royalty off of everyone that's sold off of that.
Wow. And is there a limitation on that, or is that just for the rest of the song's life?
For the rest of the life. Wow. You do have to go sign up on a website as far as like being the manager. So you do kind of have to dox yourself to a different website a little bit, but it's actually like you're getting in, on the back end of it with the artist. And it's not like where you just hold the NFT and they randomly send you something. There's a little bit more work involved with it, but it's pretty cool with what some of these projects are doing.
So with Solana, the kind of main thing is that the fees are cheaper on the chain. So now we have things being built, and we have this, like, it's a very slick looking exchange from my point of view. It seems to work quite well. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at clicking in and out of stuff. It's great.
They've had their issues the last couple of days with network traffic.
Okay.
They've been overloaded, but they just migrated servers to be able to handle that stuff. So they are actively working as new users are coming in to the space to make sure that they can handle that traffic. So it's not like they just put it up like OpenSea and close it down for half a day when they feel like it.
Yeah.
And so
this opens
Solana
up.
Also, just to give people a little bit of context with that is you can't just go with MetaMask and start trading on Solana.
Correct. Yeah, it's a completely different type of wallet. It is not EVM compatible, which is why Solana created the wormhole to be able to move stuff back and forth on that. The wallet that I use is Phantom. It's PHANTOM. It's a little, it's a purple background with a little white ghost in it. They do have an extension that you can download, and they just released their mobile wallet for phones. So you can actually go mobile. Yep, right there.
I saw that, yeah.
And it's actually really, really good to use. I love using it. You can mint straight from your phone. You don't have to worry about, coming in and going to a contract, pulling everything up, waiting on MetaMask to load, that type of stuff. It's pretty cool. I like it. The UI on it is very, very clean.
I feel like Solana is a very good recommendation for someone who's looking to get into NFTs. They're looking to kind of understand the space, but they don't have to incur these massive fees that are on ETH, and that allows for the NFTs to be worth less but still be tradable, which is a problem with ETH. Like, if it's something dies once it goes below what the average ETH gas price is, well, now sometimes you see bounce back and people have accumulated and done very well, but that is the kind of biggest problem with ETH. Do you think it cheapens Sol as a kind of, or are you still seeing these kind of incredible gains that we see in ETH?
You're still seeing incredible gains. If you go back to Magic Eden.
Like, all in all, in the end, just while he's doing that, it's not necessarily about how much it's worth; it's how much you gained.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the multipliers are pretty good. A lot of them will mint for, let's say under one Solana, and Solana right now is $110. Right, so you can mint an NFT for under $110. Normally, it's going to be in that 0.67, 0.75 range. This will show you kind of volume and what's going on.
Yeah. So you might see a lot of movement on projects that maybe have dropped below one Solana still, even though that might be the mint. Like action would be
even go lower yet too.
Yeah.
Kind of like Ethereum. There's now that it's been out a little bit, there is a ton of bots that are starting to come out. Like you can even go on Magic Eden and buy an NFT that's a bot. Where you can just hook it right up and go, right? So people are starting to get into that, and they're creating bot wars, and they're trying to front run each other.
Inevitable.
And sometimes it's bad for the project because they're going to mint it, and there's, for some reason on Solana, and I don't get it, there's capitulation after mint. Like it'll just immediately, people will start listing at the floor and just keep dropping it lower and lower and lower to get rid of it and try and mint the next one. Right, just because they're taking a small loss, but they're moving and going to the next one, and trying to find that one that's going to 100x, and do something like that. So it's a little bit different of a playing field as far as some of that goes. But I mean, your transactions cost you like a penny.
Right.
It's not like a $50 to $100 to complete a transaction. For the price of what you pay on Ethereum, just to mint the NFT, you can go buy one over here. So. You do see some lower price stuff get there, but if you look at like Orioku Dragons, that was a small mint, but they're a small collection. I think they only have 1,111 of them. Solana Monkey Business started out way back in the day when Solana was $30. They were a 3-sol mint. They've been hanging in that 150 to 250 range for the floor, depending on how volume is, and everybody knows how NFTs, the charts go up and down as well, right? You kind of get everybody starts trying to undercut to get out and get liquid again, and they drop it back down. But right now NFTs are being searched more than crypto. If you've noticed prices across Ethereum and Solana, NFTs are really, really taking off right now.
Absolutely.
With what they're doing. So I mean, something DGen Champions just came out a couple of days ago. I think they're only doing like 222 or something like that. They're kind of in the middle of your page there. They minted at 0.22, and they came out and started selling at like 150 Solana on the floor, just because of the barrier to entry and how people got into that stuff. DGen Apes I think it was a 4-sol mint when Solana was $30. They're at 65, 70. So
that was a huge.
You can get quite a big return on your investment without having to put a lot of capital up front to go through and wait on that. So
so do you see this? I mean, obviously the process is very similar. Is go to the Discord, check the Twitter, check all the
very much the same thing. Yep. The whitelist and like a lot of the announcements and stuff are all handled via Discord.
Right.
Telegram groups, yada yada yada. Same type of way you're sourcing your information. You're just working on a different chain.
Yeah. And so the one thing you said getting used to is just the price difference is what you're saying. And you're not looking at it through the same lens as Ethereum, where you're looking for these massive gains. You can move in and out of positions because of
and it doesn't take as much for you to earn a 20% gain on Solana as it does for Ethereum by the time you're paying fees and what you minted for gas, and it's a little bit more of a cost-effective way for people especially for people that are just entering the NFT space and kind of want to figure things out. Maybe they only have $500 to play with. That might get you one NFT mint on Ethereum, depending on what's going on. Over here, you can get 10, 15, 20 NFTs with that.
I think I just found my first Solana NFT.
you, Neil. Is
Yeah,
that you?
yeah, that's me. Yeah.
You're gonna do, and then maybe next time what we'll do is we'll have you purchase it right on air. And we'll do your first Solana NFT on air.
Yeah, I can really walk you through on some stuff, but it's really really easy to use and set up as far as getting in on everything.
I'm intrigued for sure.
Yeah.
Type in Soul Gods real quick up there in collections. SOLGODS.
All one or?
You can type it either way. It doesn't matter. GODS. There you go.
Oh.
Ooh.
This is one of my favorite projects.
I like that art. Yeah.
What's the floor? 55 or 5.5?
5.
That's not much.
So about $550 roughly will get you one on the floor. And like that one with the goggles up there, that 6.45 is extremely undervalued.
I thought that looked really cool. I really want to buy it straight away. I know by the time I kind of set up my wallet and everything, it's going to be a disaster, so I'm not going to bother. But I like this bowler hat as well. This one here, the red hoodie. I love hoodies. I'm a big hoodie fan.
I minted over 300 of these when they came out in September. That's how much I like them.
Okay, and what was the mint price?
Mint price was 0.66. So they've a couple of days ago they did reach 6 on the floor. So I mean they're roughly about a 10x from entry. But they actually have their team is amazing with what they do. The background of it, they have extremely good lore, and it's called the Fracture. They're actually bringing that to life and creating a metaverse out of it. So these NFTs are going to be able to have a grind mechanism and a staking mechanism, which will help earn you some stuff. But they also have Enigma puzzles, right? So if you see some of these, they have some, hex coding and that type of stuff. But there's puzzles that they put out in these Enigma pieces that, the first 50, once they solve it, get a custom one of one NFT. Right? There's only 50 for Enigma 1, 50 for Enigma 2, 25 for whatever they do on the next one. But it's just the way they have everything ran and the artwork, the community behind it. I haven't seen anything like it at all. It's something that's different. I mean, the artwork is really, really good. The team is really good. The things that they're coming out with are Magic Eden has a launch pad. Exchange Art actually does auctions where you can auction them off individually, a couple at a time, whatever.
Would I be right saying that kind of the Magic Eden is maybe the OpenSea and Exchange Art is maybe the rareable?
Yeah. That would be more. Yeah, you're going to see more artwork, actual artwork on Exchange Art.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to see your stuff like this, right? And original hand drawn, stuff is selling for 50, 100,000, 200,000 on Exchange Art. From some of the more well-known artists that are coming through. But then you get stuff like photographers, like My Everyday Valley is just pictures of everyday things in Bali, right? And there's, everybody can interpret the art their own way, as far as what goes on.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
Right. So if you like it, buy it, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the point of an NFT?
And even for kind of the photographers and the different people that are looking, it's another outlet to get your stuff on. Maybe create a different collection, or if you're a photographer or something, but you get it out there on a different platform. Yeah.
And this is something that, let's say you have somebody that likes going out and taking pictures, right? And they want to find a way to put their collection out. This is an easy way for someone to get started and get their name out without having to front a lot of money and put it out there.
I mean, the easy part is launching the NFT. The hard part is marketing it.
Yeah.
So, you get
and maintaining everything afterwards. Like once you mint it, you can't just let it sit. Otherwise, people are going to call you a rug pull, right? They're expecting, future stuff. And especially now. I mean, at the beginning, it was like, okay, it's cool PFP, and now everybody's like, what's the utility?
Yeah. What does it
What's
do?
it going to do? What's it going to get me in the end? How am I going to make my money back on it?
What have you done for me lately?
Where can I stake it? This deal?
That's what NFTs is. What have we done for
Yeah, so it's a fun space to be in, right? You can trade a lot more on volume if you want, or you can buy select pieces and hold them. There's so much stuff that's coming out on Solana, just like ETH. It's kind of hard to keep track of everything.
Oh, I know.
Maybe when Wolf Game ends, I'll start investigating Solana.
Yeah, no. So getting into the kind of P2E end of things on Solana, that's definitely something that's very attractive to do with the pricing of transactions. Would you have a big pick, like a big P2E pick? Like, what's the Wolf Game of Solana?
Well, there's actually a fork called Cops Game, but we won't go into that one.
Okay.
They actually just finished up. I'm in it. I'm not gonna lie. It was so cheap to get into.
That's okay. That's okay. There's no judgment.
It's something fun. I mean, I played it while everything else was on pause over in Wolf Game. So they actually ran into the same exploit at the beginning and had to pause the contract. As far as all that stuff goes, but they actually did make it through Gen 2 and Gen 3 mint.
Wow.
Coming through. So they just got through Gen 3, and we're now waiting on the full game to get released, which they're in the middle of building right now. So they seem to be kind of on the same timeline as Shep, just kind of doing things a little bit differently. I don't think they have near the creative mind he does. But it's, once again, it was something for me to fill my time on over here.
For sure.
Yeah, basically. And I have a feeling they're going to do like syndicates and that type of stuff and create a cool little game around it. So, I mean, you can look at the entry points on these. I mean, you can get them for like $25.
Yeah. It's interesting just like in terms of that kind of fun. Like me and Lair had spoken a lot over the time about, I was going to say over the years, because it literally feels like years.
Seems that way.
But over the last while about like, kind of experimenting so you don't make your mistakes with Wolf Game. This seems like something that I vibe with in that terms. I'm willing to kind of throw a few hundred or maybe 1,000 at it and kind of see how I get on and make my mistakes in it. That way? And then if it becomes something even better.
Right now is a good time to buy on. Right now is a good time to buy on Cops Game because the game is paused and nobody knew what the future held on it because they didn't announce anything. There was no roadmap, kind of like the Shep.
I see.
So people were kind of taking the risk, like, are they just going to stop it here and say, see you later?
Look, deal. I'm looking. Point 3, point just under 2 sol for a cop. Look, that kind of seems okay in terms of the scale of earning. I don't know what what their tokens worth or anything like that, but just off the surface, it looks investable.
Yeah, it's not going to break the bank if you want to play something and see if you can make a little bit of money off of it. So Star Atlas, if you go to play.staratlas.com.
We lost Layer Cake there, but he will be back. Yeah,
I can hold it down for him.
For sure, yeah. Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, so their marketplace is over here on the side, and then you can see your fleets. But this is a pretty cool game that is just starting.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I tried something like this on a Binance chain, and I eventually just got annoyed with the chain. That's as simple as it gets. And I abandoned. I haven't even went back to it. I haven't went to go sell anything. I invested a few £100. I was like, oh, let's see what this is. And I just got frustrated because at one stage I was getting charged a transaction every few seconds just to try and interact with the contract. And, that's not right, So, like, I presume Phantom, you don't get that sort of stuff. It works like ETH, but it's cheaper.
Yeah, Phantom is actually EVM compatible. as well. So
Oh, so I could load on my wallet that I have in MetaMask currently, yeah?
To Phantom Opera Network, not to this Phantom wallet. But there are other wallets like Coin98 that do let you switch between Solana and Ethereum and Avalanche and the other chains. They have it integrated coming in there. And I believe Brave Browser is coming out with an extension that will do everything, and they're going to default to Solana as their cheapest transaction cost, right? So they're gonna route you to wherever your trade is going to be the cheapest for you, and they're using Solana as their basis on everything. So there's a lot of backing that's coming out on Solana. Like today, they just announced Solana Pay. So basically, a point of sale system can put up a QR code with a price on it for an item, and you can scan it right from your wallet and send them Sol, USDT, whatever, and it creates that transaction right on the blockchain. So it's some of the stuff that they're coming out with on the Solana side of things is really good. And with them being able to do 40 to 80,000 transactions a second, versus the 17 max that Ethereum can do, they're able to handle a lot more volume.
Interesting.
Which for stuff like play to earn games is going to be a good spot.
Yeah.
Because A, it can handle the amount of transactions coming through, and B, it doesn't cost them a fortune to generate that transaction.
And just as a matter of interest, I suppose, kind of two things that I'd love to ask is, one, do you see Solana? Are you a Solana maxi, or are you willing to pivot wherever it goes? And do you think that they have a good situation to accelerate from at the moment with the way things have gone? And I'll get back to the other question.
Yeah. So I don't know that I would call myself a maxi of Solana. I love Solana. But I'm not only Solana, right? I'm going to go where the winds go, right? If I see an opportunity on, right now near protocol, and NFTs over there are just starting and taking off, right? So a lot of the guys that I was in early with on the Solana space are now looking at near protocol NFTs. I myself haven't been over there because I've been so tied up in Wolfgang. But this is part of the Atom Cosmos ecosystem.
Yeah.
So they're on the ICB network. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
IBC, whatever. Kind of like EVM, but it's for their stuff. So when you combine that, you have Atom Cosmos, you have Near. The other thing you have is Secret Protocol, which is kind of like Tornado Cash, but you're actually able to pull your transactions off of it for tax purposes. So they do a private network, but everything is still ran, as a normal blockchain. So it doesn't have the stigma Tornado Cash does as far as washing money. But at the same time, it's still like Tornado and Monero, where it's a secret network that you can run on.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I do see
Solana as a definitely top 5 in as far as terms of market cap and market share. Obviously, Big Daddy Bitcoin is going to be number 1. Ethereum has a pretty strong hold on number 2. But I can see it overtaking BNB. Same thing with Phantom, Avalanche. My 3 other layer 1s that I like the most are Solana, Avalanche, and Phantom. As far as where I'd like to see the top 5, those are pretty much my top 5 is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Phantom, and Avalanche. As far as what I think has long-term success to stay up near the top. And if you look at market cap sizes and, taking market share off of ETH and, getting up to that status, all 3 of those have room to grow.
For sure. Yeah. No, it's really, you've opened my mind to Solana a huge amount. I guess question I have around the ecosystem itself is the capability there for on-chain games in that fast way? You know, have we got there yet?
They are being developed. So like, I don't know how many, everybody probably has heard of Fortnite, you know, Battle Underground, you know, that type of one life, open world environment. Those games are being developed, on Solana to where you can hop in that, you know, that massive online world where there's, you know, 500 to 1,000 active players on there. You know, you pay X amount to get in, you know, let's say it's a half a Solana, right? But then you get more Solana for every person you kill, right? So as you're working through the map, you know, you hit, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys, you know, you're going to come out with a profit.
Yeah.
You know, you can either choose to leave at that point, or, you know, if you die, you obviously lose a portion of your stack that the other person can collect. But they are starting to move to those types of games where it is fast paced. It's not just a stake grind mechanism.
What, dog?
To where it goes. I got Telegram open.
You're all right.
Nice little interruption there. So yeah, there are a bunch of things coming like that, and Solana will be able to handle the amount of transactions that are necessary to make those games sustainable. So it's pretty cool with what people are going to be able to do on there. It's just going to take time for stuff to be developed, because like a year ago there was maybe only 15 different applications on Solana. There wasn't a whole lot to work with. I mean, you had a couple of indexes, a couple of staking sites, you know, but that was about it. Pretty much since like August, September, Solana has just went off the rails as far as what's being built and the things that are coming to it. So there's a lot of hype behind it, and people are starting to move over.
Yeah.
You are starting to see a ton of the big ETH NFT guys starting to work their way over and saturate themselves.
Yeah. The last push was Farouk, wasn't it? He put out a tweet and there was a kind of mass input. Am I right?
Yeah, he'd be one of them. There was another guy, and I saw the tweets circulating around Twitter. The last couple of months, I think he's bought, I don't know, 500 NFTs out of the blue chips.
Yeah.
So like the Solana Monkey business, he just bought 13 of those yesterday, you know, at a price of anywhere from 150 to 225 SOL. So he just came and, you know, dumped a pile of money in on stuff, and you're starting to see more guys like that move over, because I think they are starting to take notice, and they do see the potential as far as where these projects can go and how the ecosystem on Solana is being built.
Now, just before we kind of finish up, I think I would love to hear your idea of where Wolfgame is headed in terms of its second layer solution. Am I right saying second layer?
Yeah, you're talking about maybe like potentially moving to Polygon.
Yeah, Polygon, or I know I've done my research myself. I know that they own Wolfchain.eth, and that you know there could be the possibilities of a fork or something. If you're talking about, like, you know, I suppose from where I'm coming from, my research, it kind of points towards them coming from DeFi. DeFi elements come second nature to them, and what they're enjoying is playing around with the NFT side of things to see what's possible. I could be wrong, but so I'm kind of sold on the fact that they understand DeFi and those sorts of elements, and that, you know, they have possibly built something in the past that we all know and possibly use, but that their next step is their own chain, you know, that way. That's what, like, why not? If you can do this, it's not a big deal to kind of come in with a just setting up your own chain. If there's the use there already, you know, it makes sense. If you've done things like that before.
If they have the capability of doing it, I do see them going that route. It may not start out that way at the beginning,
Okay.
but it could be maybe an eventual switch over there. I'm not sure how the full game is going to, like, nobody knows how the full game is going to be set up, as far as the amount of transactions that you're going to need to make, whether it's going to have to be daily moves or, you just check in every couple of days, see how things are going. I think a lot of what they want to do, as far as moving to a layer 2 or creating that chain is going to be based on, the amount of transactions that they want to be able to handle, and the pace of everything on it. So I wouldn't put it out of the question for them to go to a layer 2 or build their own solution in it. Just kind of like how they, put the claim all for the pouches, or be move multiple sheep at the same time. They are finding ways to reduce gas on Ethereum instead of having to do each one individually. They are able to bundle, multiple things together, of the same pool source and be able to collect that. So they are finding ways to cut the cost while we are still on Ethereum, which is good. So I'm not sure what their ultimate end goal is on that, but I do like where they're headed, the things they've done. They seem to have plenty of experience in the DeFi side of things and working with tokenomics to make sure that it is making the project sustainable. If you look at everything they've done so far, they're trying to lock the supply up. They're trying to burn. They're making sure that it's not coming out at too fast of a supply on the drip to tank token price. It's not a farm to zero. This is a sustainable game. There's a reason why they put those pouches on a 4-year drip.
Oh yeah.
They have a long-term plan at play, which I do see them having them being played somewhat similar to DeFi Kingdoms, if you guys are familiar with that on how many they're doing. So I do think it have that potential, and with the way they're setting things up, and from what I'm hearing about the amount of contracts that are interacting with each other, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out that is going to turn the game into an actual farm type scenario. To where you may be able to use your roll to buy seeds, which is AKA LP farms, that can be planted and, maintained and procured. I can see some stuff like that coming in, to where it's not just sheep, wolves, wool, and farmers. Right? The farmers are going to be able to do stuff on the land. Right? There's a reason we have land, and it's not just to put sheep on.
Yeah.
There's going to be, I have a feeling there's going to be actual farming that's going to come into that, which is it's going to make it fun.
And that's like I'm super bullish on farmers. Like I think that they, in some ways, might be the key to the game. Like obviously wolves rule the roost, but in terms of managing your risk or managing your kind of what's the word, exposure to the wolves, the farmers might be that kind of save all catch there. Land is always land, and I'm super excited for those reveals. There's so much potential in it. The amount of contracts that are coming out, it's something I haven't touched off in a while. But you're talking huge amount of contracts and a huge amount of choice as to what your assets can do, and that's something that hasn't been offered in anywhere but DeFi Kingdoms. So I'm definitely super interested to see where it goes.
And that's what makes me especially bullish on farmers too, right? I mean, you saw the tweet from Shep where it says the farmers know the real value of wool and how scarce it is, right? Yeah. So they're either going to have a bonus multiplier, or they're going to be able, I think they're probably going to be able to protect your wool a little bit. Or they may be a kind of like a safeguard between you and the wolves, right?
Well, it makes sense in terms of lore, and everything so far has made sense in terms of kind of that attachment of lore to real life. Like, it's not ridiculous. Like, okay, a wolf taxing a sheep is ridiculous, but in terms of like wolves and sheep, it's kind of like, oh, we'll let you away with this, and there is an understanding at play. Well, farmers are people. They're men. They're man. Every lore you've ever heard, man is the true controller, you know. So I definitely am interested to see the utility aspect that's introduced. We could be wrong in terms of the, you know, there might be some farmers that are more powerful than wolves, or maybe not. But I definitely think that we will see farmers that are more powerful than wolves. I think that is something I'm sure of. Not all of them, but some of them. You know.
Yeah, I would expect something to come in like that too. And to me, I think the ship is out for vengeance with the farmers for them not being minted out. He's going to make people pay for not grabbing those, right? So since they're one of the scarcest utility items in the game, I think he might end up boosting their stats a little bit more than he originally thought, as far as what they can do to kind of make the people that didn't get one regret it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how the next couple of months play out, and I'm 100% excited about it and definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I think we'll finish up. But thank you so much for coming on. I've learned a ton, just so much, and I'll be bothering you now, I imagine.
That's fine. I will welcome the bothering with open arms. That's what I'm here for, and that's what I do for the people in my kingdom in Discord. We normally have a meeting in there every night. The last week has been a little bit different because my kids have been sick. We had Discord issues, that type of stuff. So I haven't been on as much, but we normally, we sit in our Discord for 3-4 hours a night, and we go over DeFi plays, high yield, stablecoin farming. We go over NFTs on different chains. We bring a different aspect. I'm kind of introducing people to the stuff that I came from, which a lot of people have never ventured out into. So just kind of like you, it's new. It's not Ethereum. It's a different playing field. And some of it's easier to play on and some of it's harder. But it's just one of those things where you get into it and kind of work around it a little bit. Maybe just watch the markets on some things and, kind of see what happens after mint, on a majority of projects, or, what happens with the projects that are really hyped that have 50,000 people in their Discord and 50,000 followers on Twitter. They mint out in 0.2 seconds like Ethereum. Those tend to normally take off a little bit. Some of the stealth mints, where they just release it out and, don't really put anything out to it. Those tend to kind of sneak up on people.
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing to do. Something different than your normal run-of-the-mill OpenSea, Solana, gas wars, that type of stuff. You really don't have to worry about it. If you want something, you just go get it.
Right. Well, cheers for joining, and we'll sign off with a good night and good luck.
Not a problem. Thanks, Neil. I appreciate the chat, and anytime you guys want me on, just let me know.
Yeah. Cheers.